Yo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. We are 2 nights away from the Royal Rumble, and it was SmackDown's turn to give us a go-home show to get us all excited for this week's pay-per-view. And I was actually really excited to see what SmackDown had in store, how they were going to build up towards the Royal Rumble, because they have consistently been the better of the two WWE-branded main roster shows to watch on a week-to-week basis. Definitely easier to digest, so I wanted to see what they were gonna do, brother. But the WWE had other plans. They didn't want to feature SmackDown talent really in any way because their bright idea to get us excited for the Royal Rumble was to bring back the quarterly brand-to-brand invitational and have Monday Night Raw come and bring their stench over to SmackDown and bring it back to its suck-down roots. And we are going to talk about everything wrong with tonight's episode of SmackDown and so much more right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare. You are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's SmackDown Royal Rumble Go Home Show review and reaction show. Let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
The two biggest mistakes on this night were made very early. Not just the fact that Raw showed up on SmackDown tonight in multiple segments, but the fact that you promised us on the outset of this show Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, and then ended this show with a 10-man tag team clusterfuck disaster that made absolutely no sense and was completely meaningless is almost unforgivable. I don't care. Listen, I was able to forgive the fact that Raw was on SmackDown when all you were going to give me was AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan. Sure, it's coming out of nowhere. Sure, there's no build to it, and it's completely cold as hell. But I am not going to complain about a one-on-one encounter between Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. It's going to end up being a barn burner of a match, and if they gave the match enough time, which we all assumed they were at the time that they went on during SmackDown tonight, it would have been a great main event. It would have been a great way to have this little, Raw and SmackDown are going to both be in the Royal Rumble kind of flavor to it while still delivering on a great pro wrestling match to be the main event of a show that is the go-home show to one of the biggest, most anticipated shows of the year in the Royal Rumble. Instead, and even on top of the 10-man clusterfuck disaster main event, the WWE proves once again how stupid they are and how they do not value the element of surprise. Because Braun Strowman returned to Monday Night Raw tonight in the main event segment to clean house as everybody was going crazy because, it's the Royal Rumble segment, so it has to all be everybody trying to throw each other out and doing this whole, nobody knows what the Royal Rumble is thing, and then Braun Strowman comes out and clean house. Two tremendous things wrong with this one segment, which is why it's definitely getting the poop hammer for this episode. It is well worth it. It is well deserved, because, ladies and gentlemen, if there's one thing that the Royal Rumble is known for, it's for surprise entrance. It's for returning superstars, people returning from injury or for whatever hiatus they are gone away from. But they couldn't wait 2 days. They're like a pimply little teenager on prom night who got his first taste of some action, couldn't hold it back and had that little pew preload, premature evacuation. Because why couldn't they wait 2 days on Braun Strowman? So they ruined his element of surprise in the Royal Rumble. There was no official declaration that Braun Strowman was even going to be in the Rumble, but we had Corey Graves and Michael Cole just going, does this mean he declares for the Royal Rumble? I don't know. Isn't it your job to tell us the information? Why are you asking us? Why are you asking each other? Are you a dumbass? Do you not know what's going on, Corey Graves? Just because he showed up here tonight, does that mean? Oh my gosh, could that possibly mean Braun's gonna be in the Royal Rumble? Who gives a shit? You ruined it. You ruined it already just by having him show up on SmackDown. But let's not discount the fact that as I last checked the WWE website before I went live on this video, Braun Strowman is a Raw superstar. So the SmackDown Go Home show was centered around Braun Strowman, a Raw superstar's return, and his entry into the Royal Rumble, which should have been kept a surprise until Sunday anyway. To make it infinitely worse, in the 10-man clusterfuck main event disaster, the winner of that match was Sheamus. Sheamus got the win for the team. He got the victory, who is also a Raw superstar. So Raw came to SmackDown and then shit all over them, stole the show, while simultaneously ruining the Royal Rumble. And while they did do a couple of things right on this show, what they did with Bianca and Bayley could be a 50-50 scenario. While it's been one of the most entertaining things, especially pertaining to the women's division, you know, this is the best thing they got going on. Bianca Bel-Air defeats Bayley tonight clean. No silliness, no shenanigans, which makes the red flag go up to me. Which means Bianca Belair almost undoubtedly is not going to win the Royal Rumble. They gave her this, which to me, in my wrestling brain, what I see the WWE doing, means Bayley is most likely going to throw Bianca Belair out of the Royal Rumble. Maybe to make it even more dramatic, they may end up being the final two. Everyone's going to believe Bianca Belair has Bayley's number, and somehow she will attain victory and get that main event shot at whoever she chooses for WrestleMania. That seems to be a very WWE way to go about doing this. I would do the reverse. I would give the win to Bianca Belair. She's built the momentum. She's been featured now. She's beaten Bayley twice, I believe. She beat her in the obstacle course challenge with the greatest of ease and in a very impressive manner. So I don't see why they wouldn't give it to Bianca right now. More than likely, they'll have Ronda Rousey show up and win this thing. Or maybe Becky Lynch will come back now that she had her baby. She's going to maybe make an appearance at the Royal Rumble. I wouldn't be surprised. Quite possibly, I wouldn't be shocked at all if they gave it to Charlotte Flair for the second year in a row. Why not? Vince would be probably ecstatic over the idea. If you pitched that idea to him right now, you'd probably be promoted to head of creative. Because he can't have enough of him some Charlotte Flair. Thank God she wasn't anywhere to be found on this show tonight. It would have made it infinitely worse. As if that was even possible. But yes, I like what they're doing with Bayley and Bianca. Best thing in the women's division. I am a little worried, though, that this is going to be like the stopping point for Bianca. She's not going to win the Royal Rumble. So what are they going to do with her after that? When really Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks is the money match, I think, for WrestleMania. But it was a good match between these girls once again. Nothing really too much to complain about. Very evenly matched, and it was entertaining. Bianca Belair was very emotional after the match. After she got her victory, she actually praised Bayley and said how great she was, really. But she's not her role model. And she is very happy to have attained this biggest win of her career and promises to go on and win the Royal Rumble Sunday night. AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan is announced as a match for later on in the evening. We then see Cesaro in the back with AJ Styles and his giant friend Almost. I don't know why this was necessary, but it will come to be known before the night is over. Constable King Dickhead Baron Corbin defeated Dominic Mysterio, and this is getting mildly interesting only because of the actions of the giant baby son himself, Dominic Mysterio, who I think might be breaking away from the babyface mold. He attacked the Constable King dickhead before the match tonight, which is a very heel thing to do. And it seems as if maybe Rey Mysterio is starting to wear out his welcome with his son, as Rey seems to be one-upping Dominic. Dominic can't get the better of King Corbin, losing here again in this matchup, but Rey Mysterio almost with ease was able to handle Baron Corbin in a post-match escalating brawl between the two of them. And interestingly enough, I think both Rey and Dominic are entered in the Royal Rumble, and the best possible thing they could do right now is have Dominic eliminate Rey from the Royal Rumble. We all know Dominic's not going to win, so inevitably leading us to Dominic versus Rey at WrestleMania. I think that's the way to go from this moment on, because I don't want to see him in the ring with Baron Corbin, who's really only playing the part of Seth Rollins here, as it's almost an extenuation of what we've been seeing with them over and over and over again. In the back, we have the new interim GM, who's not really the GM, but's acting as the GM in place of Adam Pearce, Sonya Deville. Adam Pearce was not on the show tonight. Wasn't he on Raw, though? I'm pretty sure he was on Raw, but he couldn't be on SmackDown tonight. Maybe it was because Roman Reigns says so. But Big E's talking to her in the back, and raw stench comes and permeates through the air as The Miz and John Morrison show up to just completely make me want to commit suicide. I can't even believe that they are on this show. It is completely, totally unnecessary, but much like Cesaro's interaction with AJ Styles and almost, this will all play out in that final match of the night, which we all know, I have said multiple times and will continue to say, was just a clusterfuck of a main event 10-man tag team disaster, which meant absolutely nothing. Everything they had to say was completely useless. Just like the segment they decided to have for Sasha Banks tonight. Sasha Banks was in the back and they gave her a skit to talk to our false, the R-Truth doppelganger, the wannabe Ron Killings, Reginald. Reginald's showing up with a bottle of wine for the champ. The champ just wants to know what kind of bottle of wine he recommends she should get for people who are going to have broken jaws so that Carmella can still enjoy her wine after she beats her at the Royal Rumble. She pretended to flirt with the fake R-Truth, R-False, R-Fake, whatever you want to call him this week. And then she walked away and he had this devious, evil smile on his face, like he did his job as a minion. I don't know. I don't care about anything that's happening when Reginald is on my screen. We then got a big recap of Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens and everything that has been going on between them. They are going to have another encounter on this evening, and it wouldn't be, thankfully they did the smart thing here. It didn't even take place in the Thunderdome. It was, via satellite, as we used to say back in the day, and it was done very, very well. We came back from the break. We seen Sami Zayn and the documentary crew, his little documentary crew. They were talking to Shinsuke Nakamura. He was talking to Shinsuke about how he always used to help him back in the day, looking for a little bit of assistance from Shinsuke going forward since he's, in protest of the whole Intercontinental Championship shenanigans. Shinsuke Nakamura told him to go to hell, turned him down outright, and walked away. The Kevin Owens-Roman Reigns interview would follow this segment. This was an excellent interview from both of them. Kevin Owens just telling everybody how personal this is to him now, how it means a lot to him, how he wants to do this for his family. Roman Reigns saying that this is a chessboard and he is the king of the chessboard. Kevin Owens is just a pawn. He is meaningless here, and this is his kingdom, and Kevin Owens needs to fall in line. Getting personal with Owens, saying that his family would be ashamed of him because he just would not acknowledge Roman Reigns as the tribal chief. Everything in the WWE revolves around Roman Reigns, and Kevin Owens just would not accept this, and this drives And this drives Roman Reigns completely furious, as Owens just will not give him the recognition he deserves. Owens continues to mock Roman Reigns, knows he tries to be a very cool mafia boss. Nothing penetrates his skin, but really at the end of the day, he's just a bully. Before Kevin Owens could even finish his promo, Roman Reigns decided to pick up his remote and be like, click, sorry, I'm not listening to the rest of this, as Owens got increasingly more emotional and promised to win their match, this last man standing match at the Royal Rumble this Sunday. We then had a quick preview of Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg, which I'm not looking forward to in the slightest. And then we started the 10-man clusterfuck main event tag team matchup. It started out very well because it began as a one-on-one match, AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan. But as soon as you seen Cesaro was going to be on commentary, you knew some kind of shenanigans and some tomfoolery was going to be afoot, and we weren't going to have a clean finish to this match. Making things worse was the cavalcade of clowns. Having trouble speaking tonight. Because it was one after the other, just music just randomly hitting at interim points in this matchup. Sami Zayn decides to come out and continue his protest during a match that has absolutely nothing to do with the Intercontinental Championship. It seemed very, very overbooked, this whole entire segment already, just by having Cesaro and Sami out there. I thought already this is going to break down into a tag team match somehow, but it got so much worse because then Big E would come down in order to shut up Sami Zayn. This would just be a disaster from this point on. Shinsuke Nakamura then comes down, and we end up getting a 6-man tag. Now, I was willing to forgive this because when you take a look at the talent in this 6-man tag, you got Daniel Bryan, Big E, Shinsuke versus AJ, Sami Zayn, and Cesaro. That's a main event tag team match anywhere in the world. You got 6 of the best wrestlers ever to step foot in a WWE ring in there. Prior to Royal Rumble weekend, at least we're going to get some decent wrestling out of this. Apparently, Sonya Deville made all of these changes, and by the end of the show, you might think that her job as the interim GM, who's not really the GM, might be in question with the way this show ended tonight. I understand the whole, chaos, let's have the chaotic ending, so, because the Royal Rumble's a big chaotic match. But it's such a lazy, tired, old school trope for the Royal Rumble to do every single year, and you had something interesting here, but you overstepped your bounds with the silliness and the additions of more and more people to, in each case, what could have been a great match. We could have had a great one-on-one, and then it divulged into this 3-on-3, but then it gets even worse as The Miz and John Morrison decide to come out for some reason. This prompts Otis and Chad Gable to come down, and this becomes a 5-on-4 match. Otis and Daniel Bryan, Big E, and Shinsuke taking on Shinsuke, Sami, Cesaro, The Miz, and Morrison. And to even out the odds for some unknown reason, suddenly Sheamus joins the fray. His music hits. He comes running down. Next thing you know, he's hitting people with bro kicks. He gets the win for his team. Suddenly, after this, the heels jump. Sheamus, they're beating up all the baby faces. And then Monday Night Raw's Braun Strowman comes down to the ring, attacks all the heels, clears the ring. Miz and Morrison got away, ran up the ramp like a couple of chicken shits that they are. Michael Cole and Adam Graves both assumed and declared, this means he's declared for the Royal Rumble. Strowman hit his little running power slam on Cesaro and then posed around in the ring with dead bodies everywhere all around him. And now we have him as a heavy favorite, I believe, for the Royal. What does this mean for the Royal Rumble, it means that you don't take it seriously as a company. It means you don't care about surprises, and it means that he most likely is not going to win the Royal Rumble, or else there would be no reason to do this. I also feel like when they finished Monday Night Raw, they were like, oh shit, we forgot to do some things. So let's just do them on SmackDown. We'll say it's time for the Brand Invitational. Why wasn't it time for the Brand Invitational Monday? Why didn't they do that for the Go Home Show Monday? And have SmackDown stars show up on Raw and steal the spotlight? If you want to play games, and you want to do bullshit like this, and you want to shit all over the brand split for absolutely no reason. This show was meaningless. And it's shows like this that do more harm than good. Because you have people tune in and you promise us AJ versus Daniel Bryan, and you deliver a circus that was completely unnecessary and meant absolutely nothing. And at the end of the day, all it did was ruin a surprise entrant for the Royal Rumble, what could have been a great surprise entrant for the Royal Rumble, because Braun Strowman is not going to tip the scales on anybody's decision on whether or not they're going to watch the Royal Rumble. You have your audience already. You did not make some casual fan go, oh, this big bald Braun Strowman guy's in it? Oh, maybe I'll watch the Royal Rumble. You already got Goldberg on there. You already have the allure of the Royal Rumble, which doesn't need any hype. It doesn't need much build. And it also doesn't need 10-man clusterfuck tag team matches that end up breaking down so that people can throw each other out of the ring and people can do their special moves. So Michael Cole can say, this is just a taste of what's to come this Sunday at the Royal Rumble. And it was completely useless. So once again, the moral of the story is, if Monday Night Raw is on television, you're going to have a bad time. I feel like the Brand Invitational also extended to the creative team. It wasn't just superstars that came over, it was the whole team. And then they had to work with the SmackDown team that's been doing an okay job, but Bruce and his clowns overrule all. And that was very evident tonight on a very wild and ridiculous SmackDown Go Home show for this Sunday's Royal Rumble. Don't forget to be here this Sunday as we bring the hammer down on the Royal Rumble for the first time doing pay-per-view in this year. And you don't want to miss that. And a good way to not miss that is to make sure you're subscribed to the channel right now. So hit that subscribe button. Make sure you have your notification bell on so as soon as that video drops, you will be notified and we can get together here and bring the hammer down on the Royal Rumble as only we can do. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team. Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue, the Snowball. Most important member of the team, as always, each and every one of you. So do your part. Let me know if you had a good time here today by hitting that like button if you enjoyed yourself here today. Share this video with anyone you think might want to come and have a good time and talk wrestling with us. And as always, most importantly, if you're not already a member and you haven't done so, just subscribe. Let's get over that 3,000 subscriber mark in 2021 and then reach for the stars as we continue to hope for 10K with one sub at a time, and it starts with you. If you missed anything else, if you missed our review of the Raw Go Home show, it'll be in the annotations up above, along with some of the other cool shit that we do here at Sledgehammer TV. Thank you once again for joining us. That, my friends, is going to do it. We are out of here, and we will see you Sunday for the Rumble right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Boom.